Hi there, it's Mark, and do you know those settings in the back of your camera? Don't worry, I'll show you it close up in a minute. The ones which allow you to change the profile of the picture you're taking. Standard, neutral, landscape, portrait, monochrome, vivid, and so on. Have you ever tried them? No, not really. Me neither. There's an awful lot. I've tried one or two, but there's still an awful lot. So I'm going to show you a way which should work for you, whereby you can appreciate what all of them do without having to change it in the back of your camera, take a picture, change it in the back of your camera, take another picture, change it, and so on. Let me show you how many I would have to go through on my camera. This is the back of my camera. This is mine Z6, Nikon Z6 III, and these are the options for picture control. So we've got the auto, vivid, neutral, the ones I mentioned before. But with Nikon, and presumably with other manufacturers, that list can start to get quite laborious and long. And it would take ages to get a good contrast on those. But I'm going to show you a way that you can have an appreciation of all those very easily without leaving Lightroom. Just go and take a couple of pictures and come back here, load one up in Lightroom, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'll play the titles, see you very shortly. So although that in camera we're talking about picture controls or creative looks or picture styles or film simulations or whatever, in Lightroom we're talking profiles. Let's have a quick recap of profiles. Take this image here, press D for our develop module, and over here we've got profiles. Click in the profiles. I usually have mine as lists, I'll show you why, as opposed to thumbnails. So here's artistic. If I run down through the artistic, you will see them each getting applied to the image on the left on quite a large view, whereas if you change it from list to a grid, then you can see them, but you don't get many of the screen, and when you roll over them it still applies it on the left. So because I prefer more workable stuff on my screen, I prefer it as a list. You could go large, let's go large, and it's the same thing again, but they do get applied to the picture on the left. So I personally just leave them as a list, and I'll do so for this. You can dilute to taste whatever you want. So when you come over to profiles, you've got a selection of profiles you can actually add, including several black and whites, to your pictures. They're a good starter for 10, the same way as clicking auto is, which is a good way to start some edits. You can come over to profiles and you can apply a profile. Now here's the thing. There's a one called camera matching, which is the version of the style that was in the back of your camera. So landscape. Oh, and by the way, just because it says landscape, I don't use it on landscape, and just because it says portrait, I don't use it on portrait. I don't care what they are called. I see them as a group of profiles and I run my mouse over them. I don't even read them. The only time I read them is if I know I'm looking for one I've used before and it was called standard, I'd go to it. Other than that, I just roll my mouse over them to see what they're like. However, these match the profiles that were off of my camera. But there's only 5, Mark. You showed us a little video where there were 20 or 30. I did indeed. And there's only 5 on this particular one because this was from my D3300 and was taken back in 2016. On that subject, let's develop this one. This is on my D5600 and was taken in 2020. D for develop module. And let's go and have a look what we have now. Camera matching now has got flat, landscape, neutral, and I promise not to read them all out. Portrait, standard, etc. Alright, fair enough. G for grid view. D for a develop module. This one is on my Nikon Z6 III, which was where that video was taken from. So in here we should see a lot more. Indeed we do. There are 35 profiles. Okay, the standard ones plus all the way down to something called toy, sepia. There's various tones you can put in, and for each of those, by the way, and this isn't to do with Nikon, for each of those, once you choose one, you can then add more of that profile or less of that profile, and you can kind of blend it in. That's just a general editing tip. Okay, but they are all there and they will overwrite each other. So once I'd already clicked on sepia, it's there. I come back and I click on landscape and it puts that one in. Neutral, incidentally, is possibly a good one to start with, just to reset everything back to the color palette, I'll call it, that Adobe has as a neutral starting point for Nikon. Once you've applied one of these, and it doesn't matter which one you've applied, you can of course close, return to your editing panel and do some more. What were these other pictures? Well, this one was taken on my ZF, so let's have a quick develop of that one. 35. Okay, too many to go through in camera. In camera you don't get to see it really applied, the scene in front of you, until you actually make that menu change, whereas here you can take a couple of pictures, and yes, it isn't what's in front of you there and then at the time walking down the street want to take a picture, but you'll understand more about what they can do. You might even find a favorite which might set a particular style of your editing, and as I've said, you don't have to rely on any particular one. Once you pick one, let's pick carbon, just because it happened to be in the middle there, close, you can then go on to actually edit this to your heart's content, and then you might want to save that as a preset. If you want to learn more about presets, I've just finished a Mastering Masks in Adobe Lightroom course, which is available to watch, and the last episode of which, albeit you'll miss out on all the fabulous fun and games of tricks, tips, tools and techniques of masks, you will find a section on where we save some presets. So essentially you make the changes here with whatever adopted profile, because they are included too. You click on the plus sign, you create a preset, and you check in everything you want. The salient ones being treatment and profiles up here. Make sure that's checked and take it from there. I'll leave you to watch that other video, but that is more or less it. More insofar as we finished, less insofar as there's still a couple of things to do, and they are: please click on that subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified of future videos, and give this video a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs up as well to rebel. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.